This broadcast is a Stephen K. Media production.
The success of the small business person is the cornerstone of the American economy. Welcome to the Small Business Today Show with your hosts, Cruz and Hughes. The Small Business Today Show is for and about small business advancement and development. What we do for you. We'll be taking your calls as we provide you small business intelligence and mentorship needed to grow your business creatively. Keep listening. The Small Business Today Show with Cruz and Hughes starts now.
Hello and welcome back to today's episode of Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes, right here on Blog Talk Radio, where we broadcast live Monday through Friday, every day from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Guys, this is the place where we discuss the topics that inspires entrepreneurs from thought to action. We're glad that you're here with us today. We have a great guest in the studio, but before we get started,
yes,
it is Friday.
It is Friday, John.
And Irv?
It's Soapbox Friday.
So if we need something to complain about, today's
That's right.
the day to do it.
Today I have a rant.
Well, let's hear it.
I have a rant. It's Soapbox Friday. And folks, you know, this is the only time on this show that we allow you, if you got a rant, you got a problem, you got a soapbox, you got an axe to grind, you know what? You can do it right here on Cruz and Hughes. But you know what? I'm going to help you because some of you are really positive and nice people and all that, and you put all that aside like you don't have a problem in the world. But you know what, John? I got one. I got a problem.
And I feel like you're going to tell us exactly what that problem is.
You know what my soapbox is?
What is it?
Phone books.
Phone books.
Phone books. Where do these things come from? And why do we need them now? I have this thing on my phone. I can find any number in America, around the world that I want to right on my cell phone.
A digital phone book is in every phone, every smartphone.
It's on my phone right now. But some of you people are sneaking around, piling up this paper at my front door. I never see you, but I know you're there. I come out of my front door, and there's piles and piles of these phone books. Where are they? Who is still printing these things?
And who's paying for the printing?
And who is paying for that? And I mean, it's little tiny ones like this. It's great big ones like this. And, you know, we're in one city. Now, all of you who listen to our show around the country, you know we're broadcasting from Houston. There's only one city. Now, it's the fourth largest city in America. Okay, fine. Do we need 14 phone books? No, we do not. Yet, these phone books, John, keep showing up at my house. I don't know who to call to stop this. Some of them don't even come from the phone company anymore. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
It's terrible. It's not the phone
Well, you know, the thing is, I guess in this day and age, I mean, some people are just slow to change.
Slow to change? John, I've got a pile of phone books. I mean, you can't use them. You can't line the bird cage with a phone book.
But think about all the uses that a phone book used to give us. I mean, when I was a kid, that was my first booster seat.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's still some uses to this thing.
John,
you know?
Look, the only thing I did with phone books, even back in the 70s, was to throw at my brother. I mean, I'm just telling you right now. I mean, phone books today, really? And you're piling these things. Here's my problem. Phone books and credit files. Right? That's my second soapbox.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, phone books and credit files. My other one I didn't tell y'all, but I got a problem with credit files. Now I'm gonna ask you this question.
All right.
Did you ever get a permission slip from anyone asking your permission to allow them to collect information on how you pay your creditors, keep your social security number, and then sell it to other people?
No, I never signed anything.
You never signed anything.
No.
You didn't ask for that.
No, I did not.
I didn't ask for that. Listen, if you asked for that and somebody sent you a permission slip, please give us a call and inform us. Straighten Irv out on this show. Because you know what? It's a soapbox. Now, I'm all for America. Don't get me wrong. I'm big on America. Why I was born here. 1 out of 17 people are fortunate enough to be born on American soil. I'm one of them. I like that. What I don't like is somebody collecting up information on me. I didn't give them permission to do that.
And you know that's only going to get worse.
And it's going to get worse. And I feel like the whole country's hamstrung by these people who didn't even ask for that.
Well, speaking of that, We have a credit guy that's here with us
Oh, we have a
today.
credit guy. Oh, wow. Well, we teed that up nicely,
Yes,
didn't we,
we
man?
did.
That
I
was
mean,
great.
that's
Almost as if it was planned.
That's as if it was
Well,
planned.
guys, our guest today is Mr. Mark Anthony McCrae. Now, Mark is Mark, how would you define yourself?
I would define myself as a financial consultant.
Okay.
I help small business owners, real estate investors, and real estate entrepreneurs obtain capital for their businesses. Now, as Irv mentioned, I work in the personal credit resource area as well, so
Uh-oh.
that's something that we can talk
that's
about
good.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you just got started on that. You've only hit the tip of the iceberg.
Sure.
But what I would tell you, John, and your audience, Irv, is that I help people obtain financing for their businesses. We know that is the number one challenge that a lot of people have. They've got a great idea. It's queued up. It's ready to go. A lot of times these days, they've got a great resume behind the idea. They're
Sure.
not just wishing and dreaming.
Right.
That's right.
But they're having a hard time accessing the capital that they need to really get it off the ground. So if you look at the average small business launch out there, and we can get into this more later, they're launching with somewhere between $25,000 and $75,000.
That's right.
Now that's not enough to fund a success. What we used
Yeah.
to call it in the VC days, that you want to fund a success.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want to just fund a logo
Right.
and a
Right.
website. You
Right.
want people to be able to generate profit. So
Right.
that's what I help people do
Awesome.
to obtain the capital they need for their ventures.
Now, Mark is a regional manager of a company called Rising Point Solutions. He also holds a BA in economics from the University of Texas, Hook'em Horns, and an MBA from Texas State University. So Mark is very qualified to talk to us on the subjects that we're going to bring about today, and he's a good friend of mine. And Mark, we appreciate you coming in and being on the show with us.
It's my pleasure. You know what's funny, John, is that 10 minutes ago we were all laughing and smiling, talking about our travels around the world and around
Absolutely,
the
and what we
country.
like best.
And then, we're talking about the beaches and tourist attractions
Right.
in California and New York. And then Irv starts ranting about phone books and credit. Kind of threw me for a loop. I was like, I didn't know I was in for this.
Well, you got to
today,
be
but I'm ready
versatile on
for
this
it.
show.
I
You got to be versatile.
Yeah, man. I mean, sometimes the pitches come at you fast, Mark. I'm telling you right now, man.
Let's do it.
All right, let's start with Rising Point Solutions. Let's first of all establish what that firm does and what value you bring to your clients.
Sure. Well, Rising Point has a couple of things within the umbrella of what we do. We do work on personal credit restoration. So, and let's touch on that just for a second.
Okay.
As Irv mentioned, there are a number of companies out there. We normally call them the credit bureaus, and they're in the business of collecting information on you and selling it to other entities.
Right.
Whether it's accurate or not, they don't care.
That's right.
Because their buyers are still buying the product.
Right.
And so what we found is that most people have between 70 and 80% inaccuracy rate in their credit report.
Wow.
Now, I'm not naive. I do know, I like to tell people,
Sure.
I know that a lot of the things that get on people's credit reports earn their way onto your credit report.
Right.
Right.
I'm no
Right,
fool.
right.
You're no
Sure.
fool. But what we try to focus on is making your credit history accurate. If we can do that, we can normally reclaim a lot of points on people's credit scores and help them move forward. We
Right.
like to say, do not let a credit history stop you from obtaining your dreams. So we
Right.
focus on the personal credit history and restoration. Now, what we started doing, what we brought into our house was business credit.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we found is that a lot of people that were working on their personal credit, it really got messed up because they were trying to fund
A business.
their business venture
That's right. With their personal credit.
with their personal credit.
Yep.
And a lot of people didn't understand the distinction between establishing a business entity and a sole proprietorship.
Right.
How do you finance them differently? And so this is something that people were screaming out for.
Mhm.
And so we jumped into that arena as well. Now, we've been around since 2005. We've been doing this a long time.
Mhm.
And we are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So your
Okay.
opinions of the BBB aside, you will find that most entities that operate in these arenas have somewhere between a C and an F rating.
Sure.
Right.
That's right.
It's very hard to deal with people and their money and upset people and their money and maintain an A+ rating for many, many years.
Absolutely.
And so we're very proud of that, and we're very protective of it.
And with that being said, you made the comment, your feelings of the BBB aside, and each BBB, we have to mention, is run by a separate president, and they almost act as individual entities under one large umbrella. But here in Houston, we do operate a very, very good BBB. It's headed by the president of which is Dan Parsons. He runs a really tight ship. So I think there's something to be said about an A rating, especially if you operate inside the business footprint of Houston, Texas.
I completely agree, because there are business owners, and I'll just qualify my statement a little bit. There are business owners who feel as if they are overly punitive.
Sure.
And so you're right. They do a great job here in Houston in particular and across the state of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And so even within that environment, to maintain a standing in their good graces is something we're very proud of.
Absolutely. Now tell me this. Now, who is your client? If you had to tell me who is the type of person that comes in that best benefits from the services of Rising Point, who would that be?
That is an outstanding question. I think the number one person I want to work with is someone who has a dream.
Okay.
Now, people that are still living in denial, and by denial, this happens on the personal and the business side.
Sure.
If you're not opening your mail, if you're not answering your phone, if you're not interested in improving your financial standing, either business or personally, then we're not really going to be someone that can help you, because unfortunately there's a pattern of thinking there that is still somewhat a victim mentality, and not necessarily operating in the realm of responsibility yet.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is we work with people who are looking to make some strides forward. Now, on the personal side, the trigger is usually something like wanting to make a real estate purchase or investment, whether it be a home or an investment property. We know that fewer than 5% of Americans own investment property, where a lot of times those credit requirements are a lot more stringent.
Sure.
And so people will find out that they may be cash rich, but credit poor, and they're looking for someone that can help them get over that hump. Now, on the business side, it's startups, it's franchises, it's people that are looking for operating capital for their companies. And I know that that's the number one thing that sort of caught your eye, and you called me and said, hey, let's come in the studio and talk about it, is that small business client.
Right.
And that's a huge part of my particular focus within Rising Point, because that's a big part of my personal history. I started off in angel financing and venture capital. So they felt as if of all the people within the company, that this was a product that Mark could have some success helping us represent out there in the marketplace.
Our guest today is Mr. Mark Anthony McCray. Mark is the president of Rising Point Solutions. Mark is also a real estate finance coach, a credit consultant, author, and a speaker. We're going to talk a little bit more about Mark's book, some of his speaking engagements. If you'd like to connect with Mark, you can do so by going to his business website, which is www.risingpointsolutions.com. Stay with us. You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes, which is brought to you by Small Business Today magazine. If you want to get the book that only talks about the way business is done, gives you business strategies and no news, go to smallbusinesstodaymagazine.com. More in a moment with Mark McCray. Stay with us.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
or even worse,
We've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
so how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cooney is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancooney.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now,
Excuse me, heavy news?
you know, disasters, politics, stock market,
And this alternative is...
coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
Now playing at Regal Entertainment Group Theaters.
From Christopher Nolan. The storm's coming. The legend ends in IMAX. What are you? I'm Joshua Directed. The Dark Knight Rises. Rated PG-13. Visit IMAX.com for showtimes and listings.
Go to www.regmovies.com to find showtimes and buy your tickets to this and other great feature films now. That's www.regmovies.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today. Visit us on the web at cruzandhughes.com. Here are your hosts, Cruz and Hughes.
All right, welcome back to the show. Our guest today is Mr. Mark Anthony McCrae. Mark is the president of Rising Point Solutions. Mark is a real estate finance coach, a credit consultant, an author, and a speaker. He does a lot of things, especially right here in the Houston area. He's very well known, and we're delighted to have him on the show today. If you'd like to connect with Mark, you can do so by going to www.risingpointsolutions.com. You know, Mark, I'm sitting here thinking about the two directions that clients come to you. People who have a personal a goal that they're trying to achieve. I'm trying to finance a home for my family, so I could see that person coming to you. But then you have on the other side of the person, as you put it, who has a dream, someone who's trying to get a business financed or trying to figure out where to get that financing. Now, let's talk a little bit about, and Irv, this is one of your favorite topics.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about how you use that credit once you've helped this person sort of establish themselves. What are some of the things that you advise them to do so that they're able to not only manage that level of good credit, but they're able to use it so that it serves them and not burns them?
Right. Okay. Wow. Well, let's separate it. Let's continue to separate personal from business for just a moment.
Okay.
So let's talk about on the personal side. On the personal side, for your personal finances, I tell people a number of things. In fact, I do these seminars called 10 Winning Strategies for maintaining good, positive credit. And one of the things that you have to do is you want to maintain a good credit card utilization ratio.
Absolutely.
And so what does that mean? Okay, long words, Mark. What does that mean? What that means is that the credit card companies rate your credit in 20% chunks. So credit between 80 and 100% of the utilization of your credit limit is going to be rated very, very poorly. Whereas if you can just lower that from, say, 81% utilization to down to 79% utilization, you're going to see an improvement in your credit rating. So the magic range that we really want people in is 20 to 40% of their credit availability.
Now, let's use that in terms of dollars. Let's say that I have a high credit limit of $10,000. So what you're saying is that I should not be at $9,800 of credit extended or used on that credit card.
I'm glad that you're translating it into dollar terms, because it lets me point out you want to be between $2,000 and $4,000 utilization ideally. Now, here's the mistake, though, because that a lot of people make. They think that going to a cash basis is going to help
Right.
them.
Oh.
And it really is not. So
Right.
here's the thing, as Irv sort of touched on in his rant, this is not the same as your balance sheet. It's not the same as debt. We're talking about credit rating. We're talking about borrowing power. We're talking about being able to do things. So you have to look at it in business terms.
Okay.
In business terms, what I will tell people is you need to have credit and you need to use credit.
Correct.
Going to a cash basis or paying off your bill every month, that sort of thing.
That's not the answer.
Not the answer. You actually want to use credit, use it wisely, use it modestly, but use it.
Yeah.
If you can stay low on that, I tell people all the time, look, go to the movies, buy a book, go to Amazon.com, send me a present, I'll accept it. Do something like that, but make sure you use it. So, but that's a good question. That's the number one thing people want to do is they want to have between 3 and 5 good credit accounts going for them at any given time. Right. That's really the number one thing.
Mark, a lot of people mismanage credit. They can come along to somebody like you who can help them really get on a good set of rails as far as building a good credit profile. And as soon as they get it, they got great scores, and then they mismanage it. And I've seen this being mismanaged 2 ways. One, where the guy goes and literally runs up the limits up to the hilt. And then the other extreme, where they go and, I don't know, put the credit cards in a freezer or put them in with a bowl of piranha. I don't know what they do, but then they don't use what they've gotten. And both extremes are bad.
The number one thing I see people do is they go and take this new credit, this new borrowing power that they have, and use it up on now this is a business show, so we can talk in business terms. If you go and take your 2013 Cadillac and trade it in because that 2014 is tight, I had to get that 2014 mark, you're probably not going to be helping your credit long term. But that's the type of thing that I've seen happen all the time. The other thing that happens, Irv, is that people will go and they were overbuy.
Yes.
So, and this happened a little bit more in the late 90s, late 1990s and early 2000s, where people would say be approved for a $500,000 home and go buy a $550,000 home with 103% financing that may have been available. So we do help people with their history, but we also consult with them. We help them figure out what are the boundaries for their finances going forward so that they cannot be in that position again. We do not want repeat customers. That is the number one thing. I do not want to see you ever again.
And that's, Mark, is really what I was getting at. That really got at the root of what I was talking about as far as management. It's one thing to get these guys on a good set of rails where they've got good credit now. They've invested the money and time to get there. And then there's no more support, no more education. There's no strategy, I guess, is what I'm getting at. And I see that a lot where there's a lot of other companies out there that, claim to do what you do. But what seems seemingly to me is the missing piece is how do you help them stay on track?
Well, you all are businessmen. You're entrepreneurs. The number one thing you have to do is you have to help create good expectations up front. You have to manage expectations. And so a lot of the companies that are in our space that really make errors, it's because they give people the impression that we're waving a magic wand for them. And it's almost as if some movie like, I like spy movies, James Bond, Jason Bourne. We give people the impression that we're taking their past and we're wiping it from the face of the earth, never to bother them ever again. And that's really not the case. There are a lot of things that we can help with, but there are a number of things that you're going to have to do on your own. And so when I'm successful, I'm sitting with someone, usually 30 minutes to an hour, before we even talk about money, before we even talk about what I propose to do with them. I consult with 3 or 4 people a day. I go sit with them and I say, look, this is our come to religion meeting. Let's see what's going on here. We go over their finances, we go over their credit report, and we talk about strategy. Again, the way we get a good reputation is by making sure that I never see you again, but also that you send your brothers, your sisters, your cousins to me and say, look, Mark is the guy that helped you out. So that's what we really want to focus on.
Good stuff.
Now, when a person comes to you, and I know that some clients can feel like that there's a magic button that you're going to hit someplace and wipe out all the bad. perhaps even give me a new social security number
Oh,
or
boy.
a new EIN to start fresh. And it's just not that simple. It does take work. And I do want you to talk about that expectation that you set when you sit down with someone. Give me an indication of how long this process could take. And I know everything is, according to how deep in trouble you actually are. But it didn't take you 6 weeks to get into all of this, so it's not going to conceivably take you 6 weeks to get out of all of it. But let me hear a little bit about that conversation.
Those are good things. You touched on a number of things there, John. I learned a new term this week, so I'm going to use it right here on the air for the first time. It's called a borrower-dependent process, which means that there are things that I need you to do to partner with me to help create your financial future.
Surely.
Now, on the magic wand side of things, that's my fancy way of saying, don't complain to me too much if you're not doing what you need to do.
Right. That's good.
On the magic wand end of things, there are people with magic wands out there.
Mm-hmm.
They usually operate out of their car.
Mm-hmm.
They usually will only meet you at Starbucks after dark.
Yeah.
Right.
And usually 3 or 4 years from now, you heard, the FBI caught up with
That's
them.
right.
So there are those people that are out there. We've been operating out of the same office spaces in the same little suburb for years now. So we're not those people. So what we want to focus on to the other end of the spectrum is that it's going to take you some time of new habits. Now, in my experience, you're going to get your biggest increases, your biggest improvements, usually in 90 to 120 day window.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we have a 6-month process, ideally. We're not some health club where you have to find us and try to cancel us out and you can't find me anymore when your time runs out.
Right.
It's not contractual. We're not looking to stay in your pocket for the next couple of years. What we're trying to do is work with you for up to 6 months. And then if you want to stay with us, then you're going to have to proactively call us a few months later and see if we will take you back in. So basically, what I would say, John, is budget 90 to 120 days, maybe 150 days. So we're talking about 3 or 4 months. You're going to see your biggest improvements. And if you can maintain good habits for that time period, you're going to see things really begin to soar for you.
And I think that's fair enough. I mean, when you sit down with someone and you're able to let them know, you're gonna be a part of this process.
But let me tell you why that's important. And if I can get on the soapbox for a second, the reason it's important is for 2 reasons. Number one, on the negative side, I don't want to give anyone the impression that it's not doable. Because there are a lot of people that don't feel like anything can happen.
Sure.
If we're talking about home ownership or business ownership, a lot of people feel like it's just not available to them. And I come to give them hope, and I come to give them methods every single time.
Surely.
Well, that's awesome, man. Listen, folks, you're here on Cruz and Hughes, and we're here in studio with Mr. Mark Anthony McCray, and he is the credit guru. He is a real estate finance coach, a credit consultant, author, and speaker. Mark, we got to talk about what you've written. You've written a book, right?
I have.
We got to talk about that before we let you out of here. When we come back, folks, you're going to hear more with Mr. Mark Anthony McCray right after this.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
or even worse,
We've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
so how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cooney is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancooney.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now at...
Excuse me, heavy news?
You know, disasters, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is?
Coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
Now playing at Regal Entertainment Group Theaters.
From Christopher Nolan. This storm's coming. The legend ends in IMAX. What are you? I'm costumes reckoning. The Dark Knight Rises. Rated PG-13. Visit IMAX.com for showtimes and listings.
Go to www.regmovies.com to find showtimes and buy your tickets to this and other great feature films now. That's www.regmovies.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. We're wherever you are.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Our guest today is Mr. Mark Anthony McCray. Mark is the president of Rising Point Solutions. If you want to connect with Mark, you can do so by going to risingpointsolutions.com. Now, Mark, we alluded to the fact that you've written a book, and the name of your book is called Live Big, Die Empty. Am I correct in that?
You are 100% correct on that. Thank you for the mention.
Okay, and tell me, what is Live Big, Die Empty? And then tell me what inspired you to want to write this book.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about Live Big, Die Empty and this inspiration for a second, because the concept is really simple for me. A lot of people that I come across feel as if they're living lives that are too small. They feel as if they're living underneath their potential. They feel as if they're living outside or beneath their purpose. They're looking for ways to break out of that, to live bigger than they're living right now.
Sure.
And I have to admit, I feel as if, you start to meet with editors and you start to meet with publicists and they say, okay, describe your target market. And my first answer is usually, I'm my target market.
Yeah.
I'm my target market. I'm a guy who felt like for a number of years that I was doing pretty good. I had my thermostat set at above average.
Right.
That was where
like
my
that.
thermostat was.
I'm going to steal that, by the way.
Absolutely.
That's good.
And I call that the thermostat principle. Wherever we have our mind set is where we're going. Our lives, our businesses, our relationships are going to come back to.
Right.
I had mine set firmly above average.
Right.
Which means that if something good happened, something potentially great happened, eventually I was going to fall back into attitudes and behaviors that brought it right back down to it's above average.
Right.
If I had a poor day, a poor week, a poor season, it's okay. I had enough internal fortitude and courage that I was going to make the moves necessary to bring it from here to above average.
Right.
And so that was my setting. And so in terms of who's the target market, who is intended for, it was originally intended for me. What sorts of things could I do? What did I need to know and understand and put into practice that would allow me to start to walk in my purpose and not below my purpose and start to realize this potential? You look like guys that played sports. They always say potential just means you ain't done nothing yet.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And so I was starting to get to the point in life where I was tired of just being this guy that had all this potential.
Right.
And it was starting to eat at me. I knew there was more in me. I knew it. And I knew there was this thing called destiny. One of my favorite quotes was from Oprah Winfrey, and it really inspired me. You were asking me about inspiration. She said, it doesn't matter whether you're destined for it or not. It just matters if you're convinced that you're destined for it or not.
Oh, that's good.
So it did.
That's right.
So right.
I get that.
It's all
Right.
mindset.
It's all mindset. It's all
Right.
mindset. So the process, John, was what sort of exercises, what sort of mind frame shifts did I need to go through to start to shift my mind setting from above average to excellence, to the point where we're beginning to go past excellence and really get into purpose and really get into power. And that's really what the process is all about. It's near and dear to my heart. I feel that thing. But what ended up happening was I was writing it more as a journal, more as a diary, quite honestly. Everything that I do is coming from the trenches, meaning I had to go through it, I had to do it. The exercises, the affirmations, the different things that are included are all things that I've had to internalize and practice, because I didn't want to be one of these people that felt like he was speaking from a mountaintop. I wanted to be someone that was showing a path up the mountaintop.
Right.
And so that's where Live Big, Die Empty came from. Now, the die empty part is I felt like, I'm sure you feel like, John, I know you enough to know you feel this way. Irv, I just met you.
Sure.
There's some things in your heart.
Yeah.
I believe God placed them there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can transmute that and call it the universe or call it your DNA. You can take that and personalize it how you will. But I believe there's some things on your heart and mind right now that you want to see emptied out before you go and see your creator, before you wind it down or go to Costa Rica and fish for the rest of your life.
That's
bucket list.
That's
That's
right.
a bucket list. and a bucket list, and I call it a life list.
Right.
That is one of the things that we help people go through.
Right.
Is how to determine what it is that's really in there.
Right.
Not what your friends say ought to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
Not what your spouse or your kids, or not what the media tells you should be in there. I'm not particularly driven to fish in Costa Rica, but that's okay.
Right.
I want to fish in Australia.
Yeah.
And so when we're going through that process, and I'll get back on track, forgive me. When we're going through that process of helping people establish their life list, one of the things that they have to do is really write that thing down. Mm-hmm. And you write it, and then you read it, and then you pray over it and meditate on it. And you keep going through that cycle until it can make you cry. Because if it's not evoking emotion from you, then it's not yours. It is not your dream.
That's true.
It is not. And this can be family, it can be business, it can be health and fitness. There's 6 particular categories we take people through. But if it's not emotional, if it doesn't evoke emotion, it is not yours, and it does not have the power to help you change. And so we really help people go through that cycle of finding out what their dreams, what their living big consists of, so that they can die empty. I believe that all the fixes that we need in this world are wrapped right up in here.
Absolutely.
In each and every one of us.
Absolutely.
You know, Mark, a lot of people really have apprehensions about letting that out there. Some are driven by fear. They don't want to put that out there, their innermost desires. I call it an assignment. I believe everybody knows what it is they're supposed to be doing, whether they're doing it or not, because people are very talented. They're able to do lots of things. But the thing, and I've run across so many people that are like that. I'm reminded of a very good friend of mine who's a very successful surgeon. And I didn't realize this about him until my wife and I were invited to his home for dinner. And I realized that he was a different person in the kitchen, completely different person. And he had literally spent almost $150,000 on this kitchen. And I asked him, I said, "What are you doing being a surgeon?" And he says, "Well, I was able to get through medical school. I probably should not have been doing this. I really should have been a gourmet chef." Because you could tell he was passionate about it. He was happy. Nobody had to get him. He didn't have to get wound up to cook.
Right.
He would find excuses to cook you dinner, because that was where he really, where his assignment and his passion was.
Absolutely.
Even though he was obviously skilled and talented enough to be a surgeon, that really wasn't the thing that drove him.
I respect using one thing as a bridge to another thing, but I agree with you. Everyone has a thing.
Right.
And we know what it is.
Right.
I believe that.
I believe that too.
People tell me they don't know,
but they know.
I don't believe
they
it.
know.
I don't believe it.
They know.
Now, can I help you get there? That's another issue. But
right.
Everybody has a thing that if they had to say A or B, they would choose A.
Sure.
Now, I know a number of Houston Texans. I've worked with a number of athletes that hate football.
Right. Yeah.
They hate it.
Yeah.
But
that's right.
When you're 6'5" and 280 and can run like the wind,
Yeah.
it's a good way to pay the bills for a few years.
Absolutely.
But I respect that they're using that as a bridge to get to the thing.
Correct.
The smart one.
That's correct.
And so I totally can relate to what you're saying there. And we help people get to that, Irv. We really do help people get to that.
and that's one of the things that why I brought up the book, because that is a legacy that will be here.
Yes.
Long after we're done. And it's clear to me that you're not just doing this for you, because generally what I find about authors is they're really wanting to create a mechanism whereby they can associate and impart their findings, if you will, and I'm using the word findings, on other people so that other people don't have to pay the same prices that they did.
Right. Well, there's a lot of truth to that as well. There's a lot of truth to that. I mean, I think what it comes down to is my thing is to live life on commission.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is I was told very clearly that I will advance in life as I help other people advance through life.
That's good.
And so whether it be in terms of these areas of purpose and performance and power, or sometimes in the area of just good financial stewardship, that's my assignment.
Sure.
That's my thing.
There you go.
I mean, even within this setting, I mean, I sit up a little bit straighter and get a little bit,
That's right.
I get a little bit more energetic when we talk about, okay, now let's talk about moving people's lives forward.
Right.
Okay, that is my thing.
Right.
Now, for your friend, it's cooking, and for other people, it's cosmetology.
Right.
My daughter is a dancer.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I told her, which means basically I'm going to have to support you for many, many years, which is fine, though. That's her thing. So I have a lot of respect for this process. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's what Live Big, Die Empty is about.
That's awesome. Before we go into break, I do want to mention there are two things that you covered that really jumped off the microphone to my ears. And one of them is helping them find their purpose, their position. And I loved how you put that in such a way where it basically says that everybody's different. So your setting is going to be different. So you have to live your destiny. Don't measure and match yourself to the person that's running the race on the side of you. And that's what it sounds like that you're doing. You're helping that person find their perfect position, find where they are. And I'm going to reserve the segment for when we come out of break, but I know you probably want to touch on that. Go ahead, Mark.
No. After break is great because John, you just did something that it's not even fair to try to handle that before break. How much time do we have?
No, I think we're coming up on it right now.
Let's go into break.
So yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Folks, you're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. It's brought to you by RingCentral.com. To get RingCentral's virtual PBX for your small business, you can call them today at 888-716-5022. Stay with us, folks, because we've got more with Mark Anthony McCrae right after this.
Turn up the sales on your website today with AnythingInternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with AnythingInternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
Or even worse,
We've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
so how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cooney is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancooney.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now,
Excuse me, heavy news?
you know, disasters, politics, stock market.
And this alternative is...
Coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
Now playing at Regal Entertainment Group Theaters.
From Christopher Nolan. This storm's coming. The legend ends in IMAX. What are you? I'm Gotham's reckoning. The Dark Knight Rises. Rated PG-13. Visit IMAX.com for showtimes and listings.
Go to www.regmovies.com to find showtimes and buy your tickets to this and other great feature films now. That's www.regmovies.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today. Visit us on the web at cruzandhughes.com. Here are your hosts, Cruz and Hughes.
Welcome back to the show. Our guest today is Mr. Mark Anthony McCray. If you're just joining in, you've come in a really good time. We've sort of switched gears and we've ventured off from business credit and personal credit and those issues because those are important. But also there are some things that are important to being successful in business that are those non-academic things, those things that you have to reach down deep within yourself internally and bring out. And those are the things that Mark's book, Live Big and Die Empty, talks about. Mark, you have a website for your book. I want you to give it out.
I want people to go to livebigdieempty.com.
Go to that website, and they can also follow you on Facebook as well.
Follow me on Facebook. You can find me at Live Big Die Empty on Facebook. You can find me at Live Big Die Empty on Twitter and livebigdieempty.com and connect with me on my blog and all those. I'm not that creative with names. Once I get one, I know once I get one that I like, I kind of stick with it. Stay with it. And so livebigdieempty.com, John and Irv, is the best place to go.
Okay, now I don't want to burn too much time because you were fired up going into the break and you wanted to make a comment based on my comment about finding that position for yourself and it's scaled to fit you and it's not measured by what anything else is going on around you or what anybody else is doing. So let's hear it.
I was fired up because you said that teaser and then said, well, let's go to break. I was like, well, wait a second, are we going to get some time to really go there? It's a really favorite topic of mine because you talked about that individual look at purpose, at destiny. And here's the thing, a lot of people talk, especially in certain circles, about being formed by the potter's hands, and we talk about being a pot of clay. But as I study the ancient languages, it's really not that at all. Mm-hmm. The clay pot is really not the best imagery when we think about our individual assignments. Mm-hmm. The key is the best imagery because the key takes a lot more time to craft.
That's right.
And that key only opens a particular kind of door.
That's it.
And other keys are not going to open that door. They're only for that assignment. And now keys can be made from ceramics as well. And so you kind of look at it and I say, okay, well, it's not the potter and the clay so much as it's the master craftsman in that key.
I like that.
And so we look at people and it relates to business very well. I hear people every day say, well, I'm too old, or I'm too ugly, or I'm too bald, or I'm too this. Well, have they ever stopped to think that it's those things that are part of your unique crafting? Mm-hmm. I got gap teeth and too bald. Well, you know what? You know what I discovered? That makes me stand out in some crowds.
You're special.
That's right. That's exactly
like,
right.
Yeah. Who is this gap-toothed, bald-headed guy that just came through the door? I'm gonna get to know him.
That's right.
And so, and I have a little bit of a proper country twang to my voice that people have a hard time placing. Well, a lot of us have those things that are unique about us, and we look at them as liabilities.
Yeah.
But we don't realize that they're assets.
That's right.
They're assets for the particular purpose that you can thrive in. And that's really key. We were talking between the break about how important it is to hone in on that, is because the nights get long it gets hard.
Sure.
Your real vision, that real vision, will bring you to tears from time to time as you're looking for how to get over that hump, how to get through a new door.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that fire, Irv, please talk about that sometime. But if you don't have that fire, I don't know how you're going to hang with it.
Well, and that's why one of the reasons why, John and I've always admired John. And I'm slow to get to this, but I've admired John Cruz and why I was so thrilled to be able to join him on the air, and why I think we've been so successful and blessed really on this show is because one of the things that we've been very candid about is both our successes and our absolutely stellar failures with people, and yet here we are. Every day, and all the people on this show. I think about Stephen K. and the commitment that he makes to make this possible. Really,
here.
And Blog Talk Radio, the whole thing, because we literally have to stop what we're doing, so we can use this platform to reach people. And guess what? Without this platform, we don't help people like you who really do have a message and a passion that can help people. And really, quite honestly, the only people who come on this show are people who are trying to help. We don't necessarily talk about, how we go about selecting guests to be on the show, but we really are doing it because of our listening audience.
Certainly.
And the people that we're wanting to support.
Yeah, I got to go back to my second point. If you listen to what Mark said in the last segment, the second thing that just really resonated with me was showing people the way. My soapbox that I've complained to Irv about in the past is that I've literally spent over $300,000 in my career when I add up every single business seminar, schooling, workshops that I've gone to looking for answers or not looking for answers, looking for a map.
Right.
And that's the thing that I didn't get. And so my thing is that I wanted to be that person. I'm not just going to tell you or propose a solution. I'm going to show you the way. And when you said that that's the thing that we do at Live Big, Die Empty, we want to show you how to get there, not just throw some solutions out there and you call me tomorrow and tell me which one worked. You listen in depthly to what's going on with that person and say, okay, well, you need this 5/8 screw or this 5/8 wrench to fix that particular problem. I love that.
And here it is. Now, I learned this back when I was in college. I had every job there was ever to have. I mean, I've unloaded empty oil barrels and I've delivered newspapers and packed boxes and all that sort of thing. One of the jobs that I had was as a night stalker at HEB.
Okay.
So I was at the University of Texas, and I wanted a brain dead job. I said, I want something where I can listen to my books.
Yeah.
Right.
One of those $300,000 of investment. I want to listen to my books, and I want to work, and I want to earn money while I'm doing it. I'm not going to be asleep anyway. Better be doing this than playing video games. And so when I was going through training, one of the things that really stood out from there, and I do believe that we pick up lessons everywhere we go in life, but one of the things I picked up from that was when someone asks you where something is, never tell them, always show them.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
so
good.
if someone comes in and says, well, where are the pickles? You say, hey, you know what? They're right over here. Follow me. They're over this way. And you take them over there to that. Now, for all of my experiences and odd jobs, that was the one thing from that stop that really stood out to me. And that's what I try to bring into my practice.
I like that.
Les Brown gave me that thing too, which is to say you don't just give people hope, but you give people methods as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got a chance to sit down and have breakfast with him, an impromptu breakfast with him here in Houston over at the Avalon Diner. And
one of my favorite spots.
Great
River
spot.
Oaks. Yeah.
It's a great spot to meet
Absolutely.
people. And so
people you want to meet too.
the people you want to meet. And so I happen to I go over there for that reason because I always meet someone I want to meet. And who's on the table next to me? I look over there. I say, hey, that guy looks really familiar.
That's right.
And he sees me looking at him. And then he says, you know
and
what?
of course he spoke.
Come on over
That's
here.
right.
That's nice. That's
so
nice.
2 hours later, I have this Hope and Methods platform that I've incorporated into everything that I do. So that's where that comes from, John.
Now, before we go to break, you speak all the time. Do you keep a calendar on your website or anything like that where people can come and hear you?
I do. In fact, if you go to livebigdieempty.com, there is a link that you can look at my upcoming events.
Okay.
And you can also fill out a request form. So if you do want me to come and share with your organization or business group or even church group, then just shoot me an email there and you can see some things that I'm up to.
Very nice.
Awesome. Well, you know what, man? I'm just thrilled that you're here. I can tell that we're going to absolutely partner up on some other things later. I think it's going to be some really great things, and really appreciate your contributions here on the show. Folks, we're here with Mr. Mark Anthony McCray, president of Rising Point Solutions. And you know what? We want you to stay tuned because we're in the home stretch right now on the show, and you're going to really benefit from some bullet points because, Mark, I'm going to ask you to give us some bullet points, some takeaways that our listening audience can take away on the show today. You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. It's brought to you by GrowSocial.com. Maximize your social media like Facebook and Twitter for your business. Call Grow Social today at 877-484-3961. Back in a moment.
Turn up the sales on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Anything Internet will evaluate your website for marketing power, for traffic, for conversion rates. We'll figure out why people buy and why people go away. We'll help you generate the correct traffic that will turn into customers and make you money. Turn the juice up on your website today with anythinginternet.com. Turn your website into a web business. 1-800-686-5986.
Very often, people come to me saying,
Stephen, how do I make radio advertising work?
or even worse,
We've tried radio ads before and got little to no response.
so how do you make the radio work for you? Well, you could have a clever jingle.
Come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff.
Or you may act crazy and loud and have an unbeatable offer.
I'll save you cash, I'll save you time, and I'll do it today, guaranteed.
But these techniques may work for some and not for others. The real key to advertising is to go back to basic marketing principles. Target your ideal prospect, make your message clear and concise, and touch the listener by connecting to their needs. Stephen K. Media specializes in radio advertising promotion that effectively broadcasts your company's message, yielding higher response and better results. As an independent agency representing major talk radio stations, we help you negotiate rates and place your ads targeting your ideal prospect. Call us today at 713-278-9109 or visit stephenk.biz. That's 713-278-9109 or email info@stephenk.biz. Are you looking to improve your health and well-being? Have you lost your energy and vitality? Do you wake up feeling 10 years older than you actually are? Looking for a doctor who really listens? Looking for a natural alternative to your chronic health challenge? Dr. Dan Cooney is a chiropractic nutritionist who helps restore your health from the inside out using whole food supplements and specific nutritional counseling. Learn more about Dr. Dan's 7 Pillars of Health on his website, drdancooney.com, or give him a call at 713-295-9358.
Introducing the alternative to heavy news. Now,
Excuse me, heavy news?
you know, disasters, politics, stock market,
And this alternative is...
coffee news. It's entertaining stories, famous quotes, and family fun. It's light news. Why it's so light, it's free.
Free?
In restaurants and coffee shops all across Houston. So next time you're waiting in a restaurant, look for coffee news. If they don't have it, tell them to get it by visiting coffeenewshouston.com.
It's light. It's free. It's coffee news.
Now playing at Regal Entertainment Group Theaters.
From Christopher Nolan, the legend ends in IMAX. What are you? I'm Gotham's Reckoning. The Dark Knight Rises. Rated PG-13. Visit IMAX.com for showtimes and listings.
Go to www.regmovies.com to find showtimes and buy your tickets to this and other great feature films now. That's www.regmovies.com.
You're listening to Small Business Today with Cruz and Hughes. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. We're wherever you are.
Welcome back to the show. We have had our resident real estate finance coach, credit consultant, author, and speaker on the show with us, Mr. Mark Anthony McCray. Mark is the president of a company called Rising Point Solutions. If you are in a position in your business or in your personal finances where you need some credit guidance, you need some help, you should definitely call and at least talk to Mark. You can reach him through his business website, which is risingpointsolutions.com, and let him advise you. I also encourage you to get a copy of his book. The name of the book is called Live Big, Die Empty, and he invites you to connect with him on all social media platforms at Live Big, empty. I think there's some lessons in there. If you've been listening to this show for the last half hour, there's some lessons in there that could really inspire you to unleash the giant that sleeps within you. Now, before we close out, we want to get a couple bullet points in terms of success. I know Irv said we're going to put Mark on the hot seat. So leave us with some words of wisdom before we get off the air.
Well, glad to. A couple of things. First of all, I will tell anyone that no matter where you are, maintain hope. It is fixable. Whether it's in terms of your business finances or your personal finances, it's fixable. That's the first thing I tell everyone. You've got to be hopeful. If you're not where you want to be, it's just because you don't know something that you need to know.
Right.
It's as simple as that. And if someone else is further down the path than you, it's just because they know something that you don't yet know.
Right.
And so that's really the first key. I tell people to maintain hope. It's fixable. It is fixable. And then the last thing there is you're only 3 words away from changing your life forever. And those 3 words are, I need help.
Awesome.
I love that.
Awesome.
I love that. Mark, we really appreciate you coming on the show. This will definitely not be the last time we're going to have you on, so I'm already booking you now. You can't tell us no, so we'd love for you to come back and talk to us.
Right. Stephen, lock the door.
Guys, we want to thank you for tuning in this week to Small Business Today. I've been your host, John Cruz.
I'm Irv Hughes.
And this is the place where we discuss the topics that inspire entrepreneurs from thought to action. We're going into the weekend, so I'm going to say just 2 words. Go Texans. So make sure you watch football, support our NFL. Guys, thank you so much for staying with us this week. So until Monday, be smart, be successful, and above all else,
be in action.
Irv and I will see you next week.
Thank you.